added that and put some
It's
glasses.
a Word document.
Live.
Good evening, everybody. We'd like to call this meeting to order. It's an open public hearing in regards to the North End Mobile Home Park. So welcome, everybody. First thing I'd like to do is take roll call. Council position number 1, Joe Armand.
I am here.
Council position number 2, David Budrus.
Present.
Council position 3, Stephen Hardy.
Present.
Position 4, Chris Moritz.
Here,
And position 5, Levi Shank.
Here.
Everybody's accounted for. Visitors who would like to be recognized for the minutes, please state your name.
Denise Holland.
Jim and Marge Sackett.
Jim and Marsh Sackett, got that? Okay.
Peter
Lynn.
Davenport.
Peter Davenport,
Lynn McGowan.
Lynn McGowan, and Mike and Virginia Fries.
Of course, that's the way it works.
So anybody who wishes to speak tonight, you'll need to sign in. And you've already done that. And you will be given 3 minutes to speak to the council, hopefully about the subject that we have here. First person on the list tonight is you, Marge. Jim? Okay.
I get to speak, yes.
This is the podium right here, Jim.
Okay.
And you're asked to give your name, address, and who you are? Very good, sir.
Jim and Marge Sackett. We live at 108 Coombs in Harrington. We're here about the issue on the north end of the trailer park. We feel that it's not the image that we'd like to see for our community as first coming into the village or town or whatever you want to call it from Davenport. Or if you come in from the other direction, it's the last image you're going to see as you leave. And I don't know how many manufactured homes you're going to allow on there, but density is a problem. We all know that. And we're not against manufactured homes. We happen to live in one. But our concern is the age and maybe the condition of some of these homes are going to be in when they arrive. And that's basically where we stand. I'd like to thank, and Marge would like to thank also, the council for hearing our complaint, and you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for allowing us, and thank you for doing the job you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Yep.
Jess, is the mic on?
The mic is on.
It was only on the YouTube.
You still have time. Do you wish to say something, Marge?
No, Peter couldn't hear.
Okay.
That's my problem.
I would agree with you there, Peter. I suffer from that. I no longer have a seeing problem. I can see again. So there is help for that. Peter, you're signed up on the list. You're next on the list. Would you like to come to the
I'll say a
platform?
few words. Thank you, Your Honor, and members of the council. I don't have many comments. This whole issue is relatively new to me, but I read ordinance number 376 dated in the 1990s. I thought I would comment. I own property in Harrington, but I don't think it would be affected by a mobile home park. But I observe that some of the provisions in the ordinance, again, ordinance number 376, may be somewhat antiquated. And I'd recommend that the council take a look at some of them before it gives final approval to any application. One of the things I note is that motor vehicles, what do they call mobile homes?
Motorhomes?
Motorhome.
Mobile homes.
Motorhomes have changed somewhat over the last 30 years. And some of the dimensions that are provided in the ordinance may not be appropriate still. For example, I don't think there were slide outs in the 1990s. The council might take a close look at that. But in principle, so long as the laws are upheld, I have no objection to motorhome park. And in fact, I think I welcome the competition it might provide and the added business for our community. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Glenn, did you sign in too?
I did.
Please step to the mic. You've got to be number 3 on our
I
list.
am. I understand that we need rental properties. Lord, I have a daughter at home that needs a place to live because she doesn't need to be living with me. But what are the appearance of these places going to be? Are they going to be neat and clean and appropriate? Are they going to be older? I mean, that is the first place you look when you come into town. Is it going to be appropriate? Is it going to make our town look low income, or is it going to look appropriate? That's my concern. How many is there going to be in that small amount of space? Is it going to be 2, which would be okay, or is it going to be too many? You know, that has to be looked at. I know that we need rental places, but we don't want it to make our town look yucky or inappropriate. We want it to look nice and clean. And I know that you guys own the place next to it, and that place is a very nice place. It's clean, it's appropriate, but are there going to be too many crammed in there, or is it going to be a significant amount? 2 would be good. I think 4 would be too many. So that needs to be looked at. That's all I have to say. I just don't want it to look inappropriate. And there is that little building next door to it that needs to be cleaned up. On top of that, it doesn't look right, it doesn't look clean, and so that needs to be looked at too. But 2 would be good in there. 4 would be too many. That's how I look at it. Thank you.
Lynn?
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
It's okay. I was going to ask you to state your name, but I think we can get that down.
Everybody knows who I am.
Yeah. Denisa? No? Well, it is 7:09. We opened this at 7 o'clock. And I'm kind of a stickler for time, so anybody who was interested, we'll give them here one more minute to 7:10. And if they haven't come at that point, we're going to close this public hearing.
Are we gonna hear from the council on their questions? That would be it.
Well, I don't think the council is going to address this. That is the first item on our agenda tonight, in our regular public meeting of the council. So. So we'll give it one more minute here. In fact, it says it's 7:10 right now. If there's no more people who'd like to speak,
Then they can't bitch.
we're going to close the public hearing at 7:10. And we're going to call our normal Wednesday night city council meeting. Consider it open at the moment, and it is 7:10 still. I'd like to call roll one more time, just to make sure that we've got that on there. So, council position 1, Joe Armand.
Still here.
2, David Budrus.
Still here.
3, Stephen Harvey.
Present.
Chris Moritz.
Still here.
And Levi Shank.
I'm here.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. The first issue on our agenda tonight is the matter under consideration, which is the North End Mobile Home Park.
Do I have an outdated agenda?
Pardon me?
On the
Do you have an
agenda,
outdated agenda?
the agenda I see takes us to the approval of the April 26, 2023 minutes.
Yes, you probably do.
That's from yesterday.
All the meetings are, well, you're absolutely correct. Excuse me, I need to go down here and start.
There's no changes.
Thank you,
then,
Councilperson Hardy. We adjourned that meeting at 7:10. And the first one is we call the regular meeting to order, and then we're going to approve the minutes from the 23rd.
Okay.
So is there a motion to approve the minutes from the 23rd?
26. So
26,
moved.
yeah.
Excuse me.
Sorry, just wanted to make sure it got on the record right is all.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second it. We had a motion from Stephen? Okay, and I'll second it.
Discussion.
There was something I saw earlier today that was just, it was a typo, but maybe? I apologize, I should have highlighted it.
Okay, so
No, I can't find it, so I'm good.
repayment plan, not a repayment plan. I have one thing that should be changed,
Okay?
the English background that I have. On the page that says proposed letter for billing,
Excuse me? Oh,
the proposed letter for billing,
It's page 5, I believe.
okay.
it says this letter would give customers an opportunity to cooperate and create a repayment plan. It's a payment plan. They're not redoing it.
Well, I think there was 2 subjects involved in one. But you are correct, I do agree with that. There is a repayment for the ones that were forgiven during the COVID lockdown.
Oh, okay.
But then also there is a repayment plan that we talked about too. So which one?
Should we put
I
payment
think
and
it's referring
repayment
to
plans?
the letter that was gonna go out with specifically addressing the arrearages.
Then I would say that was a payment plan.
So
then.
that's a payment plan too.
Yeah.
But in that too, there
Withdraw.
was both thrown in the same pot. So maybe payment plan or something to that effect, I don't know. Which you are correct, Chris, on that. That is. It should be payment plan, I believe. Did you find it, Mr. Mayor?
No.
Second to last page, at the top.
It says proposed letter for billing.
On the computer, it's
Yeah.
page 4.
And what would you like that to say?
I'm going to withdraw.
Okay.
I agree with David.
Any further discussion? All in favor of accepting the minutes from April the 26th as written? Stay certified by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same.
Did we get Levi on?
Levi, did I hear anything from you?
I think he's trying.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Okay, it was I from me.
Thank you, Levi. Next on the agenda is to approve the claims and the prior check register.
Did you see this?
I did.
David, did you see this?
On the computer I did. It's better here.
Move to approve.
All second.
Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the claims
I'll tell you that.
and observe the prior check register, and a second. Discussion?
This is, I pay that, I think, every month,
Mhm.
except for the last three or 4 months.
I got a question on MKB Lawn Care. That figure, that amount of $3,291.69, is that what we're going to be paying every month consistently now?
Yes.
Oh, that's ridiculous. That's
There was, I'll find
Is there
it.
another one?
What happened to hiring a kid?
We'll ask for questions from the floor here at a later point.
Department of Retirement.
That's good. That's what I saw.
The James A. Sewell, an associate, plural, transaction 223. That's just part of our That was part of the wastewater stuff, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And the check register, I think we approved last session. This was just because the
You
checks
approved
are
some
written.
of this, I believe.
And the Public Works transaction 224, Lincoln County Public Works for $826.38 for bridge inspections.
Yes,
Times, what bridges were they?
the two bridges down here on Linden and Main.
Name, okay.
I've seen it.
The state doesn't have anything?
The county does that.
Okay.
Okay, I will leave you, but I'm missing a week.
So I'm trying to make sure I understand the email that Dawn sent out today at 10:09. So
Everything, Chris?
Yeah.
did we, does this mean that we didn't pay last month then? Okay.
Or AAA. Well, it's not AAA.
Yeah, for.
It's Casey Manji.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I guess then what I'm confused on is, it looks like on April 11th, we paid Anatech. So which thing is this with Cassie? Is this the stuff that goes through to Scott, or is this the stuff for the tests?
If you look under,
Okay,
if you look
So that
under
wouldn't be-
Casey Manji there,
right.
you'll see 3 items, and you also received an email. this
Right, no,
afternoon.
that's what I'm asking about.
Yeah,
Is, because I'm just trying to make
those
sure
are
that.
putting numbers to the water tower work that
Right.
was done, and the wastewater operation.
Because it looks like we don't have anything to her in April, we just have something to Anatech on the 11th, so I guess that all makes sense.
What transaction are you looking at, Stephen? How much? What figure?
Well, so this was to Anatech, not stuff for Scott, but this was on the 11th for 2,919.
Let's
So,
see, Anatech Labs 1125, which one? I'm not seeing what he's looking at.
I'm sorry, you're talking about the $15.99 on March 22nd, Anatech?
no, I was looking at April, because we're in May now, and she was saying that we didn't get billed from Cassie last month, and so I was just checking last month to make just a double check,
Do you
and
have
that checks out, so I'm good to go.
This one,
Thank you.
that piece right here? I still don't find what Stephen, that figure.
Anatech.
on this.
Anatech is just doing our testing.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we have 2 things that go through Cassie. There's Scott's professional services, and then there's the testing. And so we had a bill for the testing, but not for Scott's stuff, and that's where we had the 2 bills and didn't pay last month. So it's all correct.
Yeah, but we're getting billed directly from Anatech, correct?
Mhm.
And we
Yeah.
get the bill directly from Casey Manji.
Casey, yeah.
Correct.
Yep, so it's good.
I don't have that document. Is it with all the rest of the stuff here? Or is it a separate standalone?
Not for this week. He was looking at,
Last week?
did we,
I was looking at
last month, did we pay Casey? And her name doesn't show up on the
Yep.
list of claims in April.
So the May 10th, 2023 list of claims, 7,500 for Casey.
It's basically 2 months plus some extra services that were one time I think per the email, it
Mhm.
was like for some service on the water tower.
Wastewater op and Scott, yeah, but it's not, it's just one
We
big
should have
figure.
paid part of that, a good chunk of that last month, but because she didn't invoice, we didn't. That's why part of that's larger than would otherwise be expected.
And all these have already been written out, or they've already been sent, correct?
No, not sent. They're held pending approval, yeah.
What kind of water tower work did they do?
That is.
Is that
He
the-
climbed up the water tower, inspected the hatch, inspected the gasket where the hatch seals, took pictures, and also freed up the outside float valve, which goes up and down to tell us the water level.
That was sticking.
That was-
Anecdotally, I watched him do it.
Yeah, I was stuck.
It's a slow day.
I'm good. I'm good, Mr. Mayor.
Chris,
Good.
I'm okay.
okay, Levi? You ready to vote?
Yes, sir.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor of accepting the claims in the check register as written, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same? Very good, Counselor. That's 5-0.
I don't see payroll specifically. We're doing payroll at the same time.
No, there's no payroll this
We
week.
still have,
There's,
no, it's in there, but we have to, yeah, it's on the table.
I take it off.
yeah, payroll's on the tablet.
Yeah, it's in the packet. We just need to approve it. At least historically, we always did claims and payroll.
No, no. Here it is.
Yeah, you got it.
Move to approve payroll as presented.
Second.
So we've got a motion and a second to approve the payroll claims here. Any further discussion?
Brief question, who's Justina Slider?
Our librarian.
Oh, that's right, okay, sorry. I knew we hired a new one, I didn't remember the name yet, so, thank you.
Further discussion?
I'm good.
All in favor of accepting the payroll record as written, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same? 5-0. Well, it looks to me like the agendas have changed for me too, so I'm gonna slip this in here right now, where instead of the treasurer's report, I don't think we have one, we're gonna slip in the, North End Mobile Home Park. It seems to me that there was some, a couple of things that was being asked for. One of them was to be a variation in the number of units and the setback. Was there other items on there?
The setback to match the homes and properties that are there. The Why is it so hard to remember
That's, which was 51 feet from the center.
the number of mobile homes?
Yep.
And this is an update. There is a mobile home park there. It's been there for 18 years. It's
Yes.
had one trailer on it. And we just have found a way to get a fourth one in there without, there's still more than the regulated distance between all of those homes. It should be very comfortable for everybody. So a fourth mobile home, and then the type of setting that the mobile homes will be using.
So back on December 14th of 2005, it said the number of mobile homes to be built, well, prior to 1976, limit of 3 trailers would be allowed under this conditional use permit. So that was 3 at that time. So was the setback, and you're asking to add more to this conditional use permit?
Have we received additional documentation?
From,
The applicants?
I have not recently, no.
Do you have additional documentation?
For,
Just
other than what we
anything,
present.
so according to ordinance 376, the list of requirements for that, is everything that you're intending to apply with already submitted to the city?
Yeah, we got the letter of submission for those 3 items.
Okay.
You got the map showing scale of where these homes will be. And then there were the 3 conditional uses.
What would you like?
Well, the packet of application in general, but I'll start with the map, I guess, if you want to hold the rest of it. Thank you.
Setback to edge of the road to match the rest of the houses. They are planning to purchase much more newer, okay?
When you say you're gonna move it out, in layman's terms, so the house next to the property, you want your mobile home to match
Some of the concerns were, what's this thing gonna look like?
Right.
You know, is it gonna look like a hodgepodge, or is it gonna look kinda cool? And that's the reason for this. Well, there's 2 reasons for changing the setback. One thing, it's helping us add a new residence to our town, a 4th one, rather than 3. I didn't know that we were limited to 3 originally, because we didn't even have those papers, there was a blank spaces there, but when we found them, then we found that there was a limit of 3.
Only the new stuff is on.
I didn't know that, so now we have, if we're gonna have 4, if we're gonna modify that, we need a conditional use to add another home. And one of the reasons why we can do that now, as opposed to then, is I've gone through a great deal of work to get, when you look down the street and the existing properties that I have already, that everything's in line. It's not a jigsaw puzzle in and out and back and forth. And another reason for that is I'm putting the biggest, prettiest, newest, nicest, which could go back on the showroom floor, I promise you. It's 9 years old, but you can't tell it's been lived in. And I want that right out front, sideways, so that really you're not even going to be focusing on anything behind that. And it'll be in line with the existing homes. And if we do it the way it's set up now, it won't even go into the 50-foot
labor
easement for the street as is.
My question, knowing that area is, I know if you take in front of the Nazarene Church, that's one thing, but then the next block north of that, the parking, do you plan on there be cars parking out front of the residence?
There could be,
Because-
because I have to provide parking. That's part of to get this done, we have to have parking for people that have the homes.
The one right next to, I forget who used to live there.
Steve lives there now.
And then, the next home, there's a couple, Mary Kruger lived in one, Alan Scott. Those, there's no parking in front.
That's right, because there's 37 feet from
Yeah.
the center line to their porch.
So, it's existing, so I'm just, it'd be nice to have a, go down and look at it again.
Well, the map kind of shows that.
But, your front of your mobile home, your structure is gonna be in line with the other structures, not the sidewalk. not
In
the
line,
grass.
but not as close to the street as they are. Because that street just kind of fans off.
Yeah,
And if you measure from the center line to the porch of those houses, it's like 37 feet. If you measure from the center line to where I want to build to in order to stay in line with those homes, it's 50 feet.
okay.
So there's plenty of room for people to pull off there and get a drink of water or run around the car or whatever like they've been doing for 50 years. And have parking, visiting parking
Right.
for the mobile home residents without,
Do you have
there
a
to
copy
be
of the
no
original
congestion there at all.
minutes?
And the homes will have parking that's not even out to that 50 foot. They'll be next to their
They'll be,
home or right
off.
directly in front of it.
And that 50 foot, excuse me, that 50 foot includes the deck that you have planned?
It will. The
Okay.
deck will be behind the 50-foot mark,
Okay.
which is more space than there is on any place coming up Main Street or 3rd Street the way it is now. So there's a lot of room there. And that's one reason why we're changing it, is so that we can use some of that space, because there was tons of space there for another home, another resident in Harrington, as we need.
So right now, according to this blueprint, is the carport that's there now is further closer to the road, the street, than what you intend.
That carport's going to be turned and shoved up against that little trailer in the end, and I believe it'll be
Okay.
behind the,
But this blueprint, it depicts existing right now. It shows that carport being further to the west.
it is.
Closer than
That's
what
where
you
the
planned.
mayor
Okay.
told me to put it before.
I was just trying to see how to scale
Right.
this was.
If I can, I'll just show you. This doesn't really show the street.
Right.
This is just my property lines here.
We can
This-
tell. We can tell.
The street is out here. But, yeah, this is back farther. And when this carport is, well, I could kind of pencil it in as moved. But it should be, it should be up here.
The only reason why I was asking is because right now, we know where that is at, where it's sitting.
It's kind of over here now.
And so, in relation to what you, future planning, the carport, are they all going to be in line, or is this when the carport?
They'll be in line.
Okay.
It won't be sticking out like that. It shouldn't be past the 50-foot mark, which starts getting less as you come this way.
Right.
Because for some reason, the property line goes out and there's more room. So when you look at, the shop, the canopy out in front of the shop, and the old drive-in light post down there, which is out to the street, and I put that string on there, and it comes right along here,
So that string represents
the 50-foot mark from the center line.
build from the string.
We won't build
east.
beyond that string.
Yeah.
We'll be behind that.
Okay, Mike, on the carport, so you haven't moved it yet.
I haven't moved it yet.
Is that going to impede those people from getting into their carport after you move it, whatever you're?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, right now they come in like
Yes, they
this.
come in like this, and it'll be this way now. They'll pull it
Oh,
apart
okay,
and
so
then back
it
out.
will, no impediment
It's
at all.
not gonna
Okay.
come shooting through there like they do now. It'll be turned and pushed right up against the mobile home.
Okay, super.
The wind hasn't done that already?
No, that thing has not budged.
And not
I'm
even with a tree
surprised.
fell on it.
Chair.
Okay. that's-
And so, we just, by moving this forward, that's what's given us this fourth mobile home, with still tons of room and parking between, everything, and the alley, and another access here if we have to. We didn't know for sure if the alley was mine or yours in the beginning. I think we determined that it belongs to me, so that I can use that for, in and out.
I don't know.
Well,
Did you want to see it?
if you're done with it,
Yes.
I'd like to have it back.
Would the council want me to address some of the questions that were asked tonight? Because they had concerns, and they're good ones. And if I could reassure them that we're headed in the direction that they're all wanted, so I think there was some questions that were inappropriate because it's not a mobile home, a motor home park, it's a mobile home park.
I'll just be frank, and, I know you folks, and I'm not against progress, but I know there's been concern. And from my standpoint right now, there's nothing, you guys were granted this back in 2005 for the 3
Right.
and all that. The concern is going forward is why it was put in there. I have no idea. You talking 2005 and 1976. Well, the way it was written, it could be 2050, and you could have just a bucket of bolts sitting there. Because, according to the ordinance, it can't be any older than 1976. I know, I would like to see the ordinance updated to be more, updated for more of the times. And I think, just given that, is, I don't know, whether it be 3 years old, 5 years old, but something, and I hope you would agree that bringing in something from 1978 right now would just not really be pleasing to anybody in town. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing.
Right.
But I think the goal is, the concern is not to bring in, turn it into teepee town. Sorry if that offends anybody, but I don't think that's what you're doing. That's not what I'm hearing. I know there's a big push right now for other places to unload a bunch of old stuff, and I would hope that that's not the goal of anybody to bring, and they don't want this, and I won't call it trash, but some people would, but they don't want this dilapidated stuff. It's cheap housing, but they don't want it in their community. So I don't know how really to address that to be fair to everybody.
I can help you out with that a little bit.
Go ahead.
Some of the one reason why this mobile home is going to be different than others is because we own the mobile homes, and we're going to own them all. We're not letting somebody come in and put their mobile home. That's how you lose control over what's there.
Right.
And we're just doing it, a little different. Any mobile home that comes in there is going to belong to us. And so we have the right to put new siding on it or keep the paint fresh
Or
or,
make it pretty.
we'll make it pretty.
Okay.
Now, when we brought that little single wide into town 18 years ago, I mean, it was uglier than a barn door. And a lot of people were worried about that, but we fixed it. And we had nothing but good comments about that little, oh, that's so cute, that's so nice, you guys did a good job. And we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that going. We're probably gonna die someday and then there may be an issue. I don't know, you know, those are the things that, you know, I mean, we're not gonna be there forever. And somebody else might not do the same thing, but for now and for, I don't know, how long you're gonna,
No, I'm gonna outlast you, don't
for
worry.
some time now, we're just gonna be in control of it and it's gonna be pretty. We're not gonna let any trash, even if it's an older mobile home, which I'm trying to update, you know.
Well, you folks have been here your whole life, you know,
Pretty
and
much.
as well as I have and a few others, and I hope, I'm not don't want to offend anybody, but I hope you can see the concern of the fellow citizens in the town. And when you live in such, you can't please everybody, I know that. But I just hope, that is the number one of the biggest concerns I'm hearing from people. And outside of reassurance, I mean, you know, I guess I'm trying to explain that's what the concerns are. And I hope that you folks could address them accordingly.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, they're welcome to
Yeah.
come and look or see what we're
The
doing.
plan is to make it so that it looks nice. We really, really love living in Harrington. And, you know, we are not against any kind of improvements. I would be concerned because of the fact that I mean, we have, well, we refer to it as the annex. It used to be a little burger place on the other side. We haven't had the time to get that all cleaned up. That's part of
COVID set us
doing-
back a few years on
Well,
that.
a lot of things have set us back over the years.
But we
And-
really need a burger place now.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
All right, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
And so those are the concerns we've had for a number of years, and we would like to be able to focus on that, and that's what we're doing with this. It's actually sped us up and got us to focus on it even faster now because of the fact that my mom's wanting to
Right.
move here, and so she has some plans too of how she wants certain things, and it's, you know, we're going to be kind of having some fun getting it all tidied up and looking really nice, because it has been our concern for a number of years that is the first place a person sees, and it's the last. However you want to do
We're
that.
not real proud of some of the stuff down there, but it's just
But
been.
it's all
time-
doable and all very, you know. I mean,
Time
it
and
takes-
unseen
Yeah, that's what our plan
has
is.
just set us back on all that stuff. But this is the first step in getting all of that. The little drive-in needs to
Yeah.
come down. Who was
Yeah,
worried about?
we all agree on that one.
Yeah, that's supposed to have been down some time ago, but
It just
it
didn't.
just hasn't happened. We had to go make hamburgers for David and others for the last 5 years, and there was nobody looking for jobs. It was me and her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's kind of over now.
Yeah.
We don't have Edna's anymore. And so we're just going back and picking up some of these old pieces and getting that little trailer park up and running, and it's gonna be pretty. I mean,
Yeah, and it's just something we're gonna just be working on, so.
Do you have any intentions of moving in there yourself?
well, since I don't know what my future is, I would say I would if I needed to.
Or Virginia could move in with her mother, is that?
No, that's not gonna happen.
That's a no-no.
No, because I love my mother.
Me and my mother-in-law get along pretty good.
Yeah, that is very true.
But there should be a really nice home there right up front.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, she's 89 years old, you know, that'll belong to somebody else before.
Well, it'll belong to
Too
us,
much
but
longer.
you know, somebody else will be renting
But
it.
in David's concern, it's a 9-year-old mobile home. It's gonna look good for another 50 years, you know. And I don't know, those old things just hold up, you know. I don't know what keeps them alive.
Well,
but
Is
The more
this
they are, the better
considered
they
a double or a single? What was
It's a double.
there's there'll be 2 doubles and 2 singles when it's done.
If we get the.
So there'll be 2 family homes and 2 small family
For
homes.
starters.
So on the first night we talked, you talked about a 1988 unit and an 82 unit. Do you have a time frame put together, some kind of a plan on how long you think it's gonna take you to bring those up to the,
The 82, I think, is actually nixed at this point.
okay? That one's not,
I told him, I want to update for that one, you know.
okay, so
So it may never show up here.
Yeah,
The oldest one now is a
88.
88.
And do you have any kind of a rough time frame on how long it's gonna take you to bring those?
Well,
up
they're
to
going to
what
be
you-
in town here
Well,
the
and
first week of
it is
June,
a-
hopefully.
It is a fixer, so it's gonna take at least 3 months to get it ready for somebody to occupy.
The big push is the first one right out at the street.
And then,
Right.
yeah.
Once mom's here and happy, then we'll switch back. But
Well,
there
she
will
doesn't
be
even
2
have to be
homes.
happy, she just
There
has to
will
be
be
here.
2 homes, hopefully, set
I love my
by, say, the middle of June.
And that
And
puts-
then we'll start working on one of them
Yeah.
because it's not the prettiest thing right now. And don't worry about that because it's gonna be.
Yeah,
So if we go back to the original conditional use permit, there was 3 allowed. And now you're asking for a variance to put,
We just want to
An
add
extra
one
one.
more residence, which, I mean, technically that should make everybody happy because the
Which would
city
be
gets
4.
more money and we get more money and more people in town, you know, affordable housing. I've got people already that are asking if they can move in when we get it fixed.
So we should probably put this into
I have one
discussion.
does
yes,
for my guy. She makes the money.
So I will move the adoption of, or the approval of this application.
okay? So we got a motion on the floor to approve the application. You're holding that document?
Yes.
Okay? Well, we got a second.
I'll second.
What document is it?
Okay, so,
That's the document for,
now being in discussion, may I have the floor, Mr. Mayor?
you may?
So the ordinance 376
Okay,
states that in the case of a rejection, the council is due to give the applicant reasons for the rejection within 15 days. I won't be able to speak to everyone's vote here, but I'm going to tell you why I'm going to vote no on this. And the main reason is, first of all, I would say the ordinances that Harrington has in general need updating. And 376, I don't think reflects the nature of how Harrington does business, and it's certainly not very up to date. But that being said, it is on the books, and we also don't have any precedent for the expansion of mobile home parks in the recent past. So barring that, we look at the requirements for application in section 1.02.110 or 010. And this is, I believe we talked about 376 having been sent to you guys. And 2 meetings ago when we set this public hearing, I advised to make sure that we were in adherence with the ordinance. So the requirements that we have here are first I'll read section A. Any person desiring to develop a mobile home park or enlarge an existing park shall submit an application to the city clerk containing the following information. 1, the area and dimensions of the tract of land. Dimensions are certainly here. Area, I don't know that I would find it necessary, but it is a requirement that I don't see met there. 2, the number, location, size of all mobile home or recreational vehicle spots or lots. That's there, as far as I can tell. 3, the location and width of roadways or walkways. So I don't know if there's any specific walkways. I don't know why one would need the dimensions of a walkway, but neither the parking spaces or the walkways that I'm assuming are the ones in yellow here have dimensions on them. And again, I'm not doing this to beat you up. I'm doing this just to say that the ordinance itself says that we're required to tell you the nature of our vote. So that's why I'm going through it bit by bit. the location of solid waste disposal facilities. I'm not exactly sure what those facilities, I don't
That's
think it's.
for RVs.
Yeah, I don't
not
think that's
mobile home
probably
parks.
applicable.
We have a sewer system there to take care of all that.
Yeah.
We're not dumping and
What's that?
holding sewage.
The location of service, recreation, or other permanent facilities,
I don't think that's the
not
one.
probably applicable. The plan of water, sewer, or other utility services. I don't see any of those outlined on here or in the other submitted
Well, they're actually
documents.
already there. I
And
mean,
that might be,
yeah,
but to go from 3 to 4, there would need to be at least one additional one.
that's right.
And that's not spelled out here. Including the existing ones, because if it's updating an application, anything that would be existing would have to be portrayed there as well. 7, plans and specifications for all community facilities and permanent lot improvements, probably not applicable. 8, an area map showing the general location of the proposed facility, including information such as the width of any adjacent streets. Personally, I don't know why that would be relevant for you to measure the street that you're next to, but it's what's there right now. The proximity of shopping and other services. Again, that's my comment about I don't know that this ordinance really reflects very well what we have today. But and then section B of it, all maps and plot plans shall be drawn to an appropriate scale to ensure full detail on 18-inch by 24-inch sheets, 10 copies and 1 sepia or other reproducible copy of each map or plan shall be submitted. In addition, 1 8.5 by 11-inch reproduction of each map or plan shall be submitted. While I'm not going to pull out a tape measure and measure whether it's on the exact right set of paper, there are some aspects of this that are not quite to scale with things. And I think that if we're going to approve a plan, we should hold on record a to-scale map of it. So that's the explanation for my vote, and I only speak for myself. But I do thank you for your application, and I do wish you the best overall with the effort.
Further discussion?
Well, I'm going to effectively mirror where Stephen's coming from. And that is, it's backed up not just because it's an enlargement. There's a couple of other issues within this ordinance. And one of them is the transferability or the portability of that conditional permit. There's 2 things. One, it was specifically said there that the permit was not transferable to any person.
What permit is that?
Can you tell me where that is in 376, Joe?
Yeah, I just had it. The original permit that I believe it was your father that secured. It was down towards the end of it.
I think it's second to the last page.
Okay, it's on page 13 of 17, so in the digital copy, so I'm pretty sure it's the same thing there.
Yep.
Chapter 1.04, Certificate of Development Placement Permit. And basically the first paragraph outlines it, but within that it's number 4, the certificate shall be non-transferable to any person, firm, or corporation without approval of City Council. So that has to be approved. But number 2, just above that, says construction pursuant to the permit shall commence within 1 year of the issuance. Failure to commence construction within 1 year shall void the certificate. So I'm just saying there are a couple of points within this ordinance that drives you back to the beginning of putting in a full application. My personal concerns are, for me, it's all about safety. Where's the alley? Has the fire marshal, even though it doesn't talk about this here, it does talk about safety. Has the fire marshal come through, looked at this plan, given his blessing, says that this is a defensible project, that they can come in and take care of things? I don't know. So we all know that unfortunately, doesn't matter what structure it is, there has to be access to get to it. And manufactured homes, unfortunately, are known that once they get going, they're tough to get out. I just don't want that label for the city. So I'm looking at the safety aspect of it, and within this, I just don't think that the expansion or even quite honestly the rest of them to be put in right now, I don't think this has been met. It's partially there, but I'd like to see it thought all the way through. I know we're talking about setbacks. I have a hard time approving any kind of setback without having a survey. I mean, somebody's got to be out there to say this is exactly where the corner is and this is where your lot line starts. There's too much in this town where people are just assuming it's going to be good and they miss the mark, and 8 years later someone else is cleaning it up. So that's not in this, but when we're talking about setbacks from a certain point so far off the road and where the lot lines are, where the alley is, it's still city property. It's not, I mean, it's part of the right of way. So those need to be outlined and defined to do this correctly. That's my 2 cents worth.
Chris?
I don't have anything to say, no questions.
Okay. David?
I've already mentioned it.
Levi?
I'm good.
So we had a motion on the floor. Can the clerk read back the motion? So we have it correct?
Pardon me?
No.
Okay.
She's looking at that. Councilman Hardy moved that the application be approved, and Councilman Lloyd seconded the motion.
Okay.
The application for,
Enlargement of the mobile home park.
That's what the application states there. I don't have that in front of me at the moment, but
I haven't seen an application. I know that there was a request for a variance, but that's all I've ever seen.
did I give you a request for an application there, Stephen? One of those documents?
I don't believe that terminology is formally used here.
Okay.
But given that the ordinance defines enlargement as one of the things that makes an application applicable, I don't know how you would have a variance without that qualifying as an enlargement against the application.
376.
I will willingly withdraw my motion if that would seem out of order to the council.
I just want to make sure exactly what we're talking about voting on here.
So
Go ahead, Mike.
we can live without the fourth mobile home. You know, we don't have to add that one. That was just part of this update while we're doing this. Let's make it better. So if we go back to the 3, then the only issue is the setback and the style of then the park set.
My issue or answer to that is I think the application or the conditional permit that was issued in 2005 is no longer valid. Even if it's not that's what I was getting at. There are a couple of points that drive us back to the very beginning of this. Like, it may be outdated, but I think this first part of the application is not.
I don't know if it would be, well, so the transference can be done with the approval of the city council, so that wouldn't require a reapplication. It would merely require approval. Construction commencing within 1 year of issuance. When the utilities were put in, when were the utilities put in?
At the beginning.
Within
2005.
Okay. The text does not say that construction must complete. It just says must commence.
Truth.
And the electrical stuff, anytime you put in another mobile, it's all gotta be re-inspected.
Right.
I mean, you can't.
So
The one that's in there is in there, but if you add new, that all goes in sequence with.
So to your point, Joe, I think it's still valid that because of the transference, their certificate would not currently be valid. But I don't think that takes them back to the beginning. That merely means they're seeking an approval for the transference of that application.
I have a question. Is it, what you're calling the transference, is it from Jerry's name to Mike's? And is that the building permit that was given?
No, this would be the consideration of it as a, well, the terminology here is certificate of development. So I would interpret that, short of a lawyer advising me, to mean that's the classification of being a mobile home park.
Because with the building permit, we found that, and it has our name on it, because we paid for that. So I thought that if that would indicate that it would be both Mike and Jerry on that, then...
Well, I think, doesn't the 2005 document is in Jerry's name, right?
It probably is. But I was thinking that
Well,
they included
The one
Mike's.
in November is. The one in December doesn't say. No, it does. It says Gerald Friesen.
Yeah.
So they both do.
But the
So you
state,
guys have got the copies of 376.
I couldn't find it today before I came here, so...
Yeah, we have.
but
Yeah.
the state of 376 would not technically be the matter at hand for
So
this
these are the
motion.
ones he's talking about. I have a copy of this, so I'll give you one. He's talking about
I would recommend
A, B, C.
consider transference at a separate time.
He's talking about these items.
I'm gonna need to think
So
about
when you get back to here, it talks about the construction. So that's,
Do you need another copy printed since I've got it right here?
yeah, I've got one. This one's mine, and that was a copy of it. This is the actual ordinance. And those were printed from, well, once we dug the ordinance out.
I got a question. If this fails, your variance request, you can still go ahead with your mother-in-law's. I mean, that's not gonna interfere with what you wanted to do with your mother-in-law's.
If we don't,
house.
if we don't get approval for the setback, and the
And how it's
setback,
set.
Hmm?
And how it's
the
set.
setback is, we're not really changing, we're just asking it to, so that we can be the same as everybody else on the row there. We're not asking for something to be sticking out farther, and we don't want it to have to be back farther. And that's the wording of the inspector that we now use, who is not a city inspector, he's a county inspector.
Ryan?
And so his rules, yes, so his rules are as if you were setting a mobile home out here alongside the highway between here and Davenport. So they want the 50 feet, and then they want another 30 feet from that. I'd want my house 100 feet from there, if 60 mile an hour traffic personally.
Right.
But we're bringing it back into the city now, and that's why we're asking you guys to make a decision on that, which Joe has discovered that you can do. And we're not even encroaching on the 50-foot mark from the center line,
The right of way.
the
Yeah,
right of way.
yeah.
All the other houses and businesses on Main Street do. They're in the 50. We're staying back 50 feet.
How far are you back from the 51 feet there? 10, 15 feet,
Well, I'm
Excuse
gonna,
me, 50
No,
feet.
51.
51?
I believe it's 51 where he has the...
I'm at 50, I'm building at 51, I'm giving you, I'm leaving a foot just
Yeah.
for, like Joe was saying, hey, we don't know where the exact line is.
Right.
Although, the center line is a pretty good place to start. So I'm actually, I'm a
Yeah,
foot
that's
back
a-
from that, so.
That's a pretty good estimation, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that ain't right, then we got a lot of big problems,
Well-
which, we do,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, without some kind of survey, I guess we don't know that that's stripe is
But
considered.
what I'm saying and what I'm promising is that we're not gonna stick out any farther than anything else that's on that street. In fact, we'll be back farther than most of them. And stay, and still be in line. When you look down, it'll look like it's in place. So with, you know, if you don't wanna go for the fourth home now, I mean, we can talk about that update in the future. But if we can get to 3, then that's gonna keep us busy for a year or 2. And then all we need is the setback and the type of setting. We don't need the 4th mobile home if that's one of the bigger concerns.
If you take that sidewalk that runs north-south and it dead ends at that, at your line,
Right.
basically, and you continued north with it, how far away from that sidewalk would this establishment?
It would be in the right of way, not on my
Sidewalk.
property.
The sidewalk would be.
Yeah.
The sidewalk would be in part of the 50 feet from the center line. Or whatever this visual line from properties that are there to the properties that are over there. I'm just doing a straight line. And the sidewalk would be in the,
Do you remember kind of measuring from what the invisible sidewalk? Because we kind of talked about that.
the sidewalk will
From
not,
where the mom's house would be.
the sidewalk could go straight from where it is now, and it would miss anything that we're
Oh, yeah.
putting out there.
I thought it might, but I didn't know for sure.
Yeah, it's a good question. Because, you know, I have vision
Yeah,
of
we
sidewalk
talked
clear
about
out to the fuel station someday.
Clear to Davenport.
Wouldn't that be nice? No, it's
Centennial Trail,
up to the gas
you know.
station. Because people walk there all the time.
So we're not really asking to stick out or do something, you know, beyond what is normal. In fact, I'm asking to be normal. That's what I want. I want it to be normal, not pieces missing and jagged and because of this county wording. I don't know. I haven't talked to Ryan because I thought we'd get our ducks in a row first and then see how, you know, where he's at on that. But I do know.
The last time I talked to Ryan, I made it clear to him that it was a mobile home park since 2005. So that
Right.
any conversation he had with you, this was not a private home, it's part of a park.
Right.
And he said, understood.
Okay.
So, ask him if he wanted documentation.
So the Washington State rules for park set and that setback rule that Ryan's gonna look at on his form, which is kind of ridiculous for in a city. I mean, 30 feet's a lot of property to hand over, you know, to a easement that doesn't even match what's there. That's the reasonableness of what I'm trying to ask for. I'm not trying to get more property away from, you know, the city or this right away or anything. In fact, there's more, like I said, there's more space there in that area for some reason. There's a lot of people pull over there with semi trucks and there's still room to, you know, go do whatever you want to do.
And I think the original request was for lot, I've seen 2 of them, all of lot 5 and 15 feet of 4, and then it later recanted and said all of 5 and 4. And those are still in play, right? You're not going out of those lots.
No,
Actually, block
no,
5,
it's all
David.
between my shop
Block
and the little
5,
yellow.
all of lot 4 and 5,
Right,
per the original minutes.
right.
Are we ready to vote?
Good enough room?
Yeah, we need to know what we're going to vote on, that's the,
Up or down the approval of the application?
so did you repeal your motion, Stephen?
No,
You did not.
not so far.
So at this time, we are taking a vote up or down on the application to expand the park or to accept the parks?
To expand.
To expand the park. Is that clear to everybody?
To expand the existing park.
That's correct. Based on what other council people have come up from 376. So the motion on the floor is to expand, yes or no, not to expand. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. All opposed, same.
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
I'll abstain.
So we've got 3. Excuse me, Levi. I'm gonna make a list here. Sorry, gentlemen. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I do a roll call? Is that okay with you guys? Okay.
Sure.
Stephen?
Nay.
Hey. Okay. Joe?
Nay.
Chris?
Abstain.
Abstain. David?
Abstain.
Levi?
Nay.
Nay.
So we have 3 nays and 2 abstentions, so I would say the motion fails.
3-2.
That is a 3-2, correct.
Oh, 3-2.
Oh, excuse,
0 for.
0, 3,
3
2.
against, 2 abstentions.
Okay, sorry about that.
Now, when it's rejected, we have some responsibilities to perform as council to you.
Okay, and that's in 376.
Correct.
Can you tell me what page that's on?
7.
Page 7.
You got the ordinance up there.
Okay,
Is that sent in our documents?
I've outlined my contributions to that. To your point about transference and what other things there might be, I think that goes to the validity of the original document, not the rejection of the expansion. So I have nothing to add with what I initially
Right.
listed.
Right. So, basically, we're supposed to get to you in writing no more than 15 days, the reason for the rejection. I have no intention of waiting that long because then it shows the outlines of what you can do to reapply. So, and you're right, I think procedurally, the transference of the original permit to you guys, it's up to the council, and I think that's just...
That's a
becomes-
doable thing.
I don't
And
perceive that would be, it shouldn't be very consuming to do so.
I would request of the mayor that in our next meeting, we add an agenda item to discuss the transference and the validity of the existing certificate. And that should come,
do you
Well-
expect a legal opinion on that from our lawyer?
probably,
So we are May
Let's
10th
give
right
him
now,
money.
we are talking May 24th.
yeah. I mean, as far as the transference, the ordinance outlines that's within the city council's provision to give.
That's within the time frame. Where did that say that? Right here on page 7?
No,
That was the original part, it's back down towards the
Yeah.
13 or whatever, where it's,
Correct on,
yeah.
I got that, okay? Okay,
I just have, excuse me, clarification on this. It's somewhat of a confusion, I want cleared up. They were granted it originally in '05. You come here tonight with, you want, I heard, a fourth one and a setback variance, a different. So
And the park set.
we voted on the whole issue at once. So right now, they can still go ahead with their original '05 variance, correct? Look for understanding for everybody here.
Not entirely. There's other provisions that we didn't get into. I was making some points, but there's two things. Construction has to start within a year. If construction is suspended, I think it said construction was allowed to be suspended for 180 days, but okay. Construction pursuant to the certificate shall not be suspended for a period of in excess of 180 days. Suspension in excess of the above limits void the certificate. So basically,
That's footnote
But,
3.
but my concern is that the document does not define construction. And so I guess all I can share is that,
Well, you're not gonna construct a mobile home,
No.
so construction would be water lines, electrical.
Just a
utilities.
set.
Which is already there, correct?
It's already there.
that
Well, when you bring in a mobile home, you gotta move from here to there.
Exactly.
But
Right.
the water and the
So you're
sewer's
right,
there.
Stephen, but.
So I think we have some points to clear up. All I will say is that at this time, I am inclined to see you be able to move forward with what you got before. But I think we're gonna need to consider some things as council and possibly talk to our lawyer to make sure that things are our ducks are in a row with that.
So the only thing I see is a problem is if the approval of the setback, the 51 feet from the street is an issue.
That's one issue to me.
That's one issue that's a major impact, it sounds like to me. If it's not
Correct.
going to be accepted, obviously that
Well,
controls everything where you start from.
It kinda controls where we wanna
The
start.
whole world revolves around that,
And-
kinda.
You know,
and
it's just,
something that might be useful to consider with is, I don't think they get variances. Private citizens get variances. When this became a mobile home park, it put it into a different category, that its build plan is defined by the application. Therefore, the ordinance defines that any changes to the build plan, which would include setbacks, which would include the number of buildings, is an expansion or change of the application. Therefore, it has to go through the application change process. They can acquire a variance for this and a variance for that, the way a person could for their own private property, because my own private property is not under a ordinance that defines that it has a build process with a plan that goes along with it. So any changes that they're seeking is a change to the application that they already achieved, whether, aside from the question of whether it continues to be valid.
So can we all agree
Yeah.
that we're going to use
376.
this
I wanna
document right
tear
here?
it apart.
They've got a copy of it now.
376.
I feel
Exactly, 376. No old ones, no new ones. This is the,
Better give
this
them
is
another.
the
yeah,
document.
yeah.
you want one? David, do you want a paper copy?
I haven't, thanks.
Okay,
Can you email it to me?
Yes.
If you can email it to me, I'll take it as on here.
okay.
But
Then we're all working from the same book.
Don't email it
We
to
know
me.
that. Which is the same as, well, virtually the same. It may have different numbers in front of it, as it was turned from this into some of the documentation that the rest of our documents have been stored under.
Jess, oh, you're printing it. I was
So-
gonna say, don't email it to me,
Do you
because I
know
probably will never
any-
figure it
I'm
out.
printing it for you right now.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
know of any written?
I can make you a copy.
Oh,
of this.
Joe's doing it now.
This is my copy.
Do you know?
Here's a copy right here if you want one.
For what we write.
I have 2 copies of it.
We're all gonna be down by the time we're just.
Because I think your additions were all about the
I'm not saying that he's old, mind you, just.
previous application, which would not be a part of our rejection.
Scott, yeah.
This one's much easier to read than the old one, or the new codified one.
I've had iced tea since last summer.
So, Don, I believe we can.
And that's the one that is our concern, is the one that's
What I listed
newly
for my
codified.
concerns, and that we can send that to them to meet that requirement too.
The codified ones are the same identical
What's the
thing,
number
they're
on
just
there,
not on
Cynthia?
the same pages.
That's,
Yes.
that's for Chris.
Okay.
I printed it for Chris.
Well, and actually, to be technical,
Here's-
Yeah, he gave me this.
Levi,
Yours
as,
should be.
You need another
Should
one?
be to me.
No, okay.
as the only other nay vote, Do you have anything additional to include in the reasons for rejection?
No, you guys spelled out what I was thinking, so.
Okay, so then that is complete. Okay.
So it sounds to me like we will put together a specific list of things that we are expecting. Is that true?
We're just gonna write out what I already listed, because I checked with Joe and I checked with Levi, which we were the only ones who voted against it, and all of us agree those are the reasons for rejection.
Okay.
So it just needs to generally be transcribed from what I listed off of YouTube, and that'll be our written response.
And that will be delivered to Freezes on the next meeting.
Well, within 15 days of now.
I'd like to get it.
Joe's gonna speed that up for us.
Yeah, I want to get that out as quick as possible.
Okay,
So, are you, since
And I'm
you're
gonna be clear.
email, mail, do you
Yeah.
have a preference?
No, email's fine.
Okay.
I don't begrudge you guys this at all. I am really hoping that he gets this taken care of quickly. The onus is on you, Joe. So you guys can move forward with
So
this.
Stephen's working on getting this thing updated to Mike and Virginia instead of Jerry Freeze.
Well, no, that's going to take a vote of the council.
Yeah,
With a vote.
So we
That'll
can't
be
do
an
that
agenda
tonight,
item
that'll
for
be in
next
2
week.
weeks.
And then the other two issues that we need to move on are not so much the fourth mobile home. If that confuses or clouds any issue, we can just drop that. But we do,
It's your right to reapply.
Yeah.
and what I'm getting at is if we can move a little faster with getting that, that will comply for us.
So-
And then if we can get those two issues, the setback and the type of set, that's all we need to start moving
So
forward.
type of set, I believe we were gonna address that by, Jess said that he talked with the county to say that it was mobile home. That comes from them acknowledging the set, like, I don't think that the council, as I understand that part of the issue, is in the middle of that anymore.
No.
And he's gonna-
The cement foundation work.
Yeah, that should be unlocked, that hopefully now that he has the right context for what the requirements
He's
are.
okay with the park set.
That should
Yes,
already be
I believe
resolved,
so.
hopefully
Okay.
now. So
And
the
so-
only question would be like the variance, which
So
would go into the plan that is on record approved for your application.
So if we got the 3 mobile homes that were originally there, and if we get that transferred into Mike and Virginia
Yeah.
with a vote,
Yes.
then the only thing left is the setback.
But we are looking for, what I'm looking for is a clear application of, this is what I'm trying to do, this is where I want to do it. I do want to know where the hookups for the sewer are. We have too many buildings that are built and set over the top of sewer lines, and that has to stop. So, sorry.
You basically want to see an application.
lumberyard is the perfect
Yeah, and there's no, it's not like an application that you fill out for work. It's literally just take the bullet points and address them.
And my concern, for me, is not focusing on whether you submitted 9 copies versus the 10 that it says in there.
That,
But there should be, we're trying to raise our expectations a little bit as a city, say that when we approve of some type of a special development area, that we have a 2-scale document on file that we can produce to.
Yeah, and that makes sense too, because
And
for
that
years
is,
go by.
2 feet per square, so it is to
But you don't
scale.
have where the sewer hookups are,
Yeah.
so you need to measure those. I'll help,
We can add the sewers.
yeah. See,
And now that we have to see, another problem is, until you have the mobile home, you don't know which end,
All the
which end
plumbing's
you're
gonna
heading
be
for.
on.
You can hook on this end or that end. Well, we know now, and so it's information that we didn't even have at that time, so, we can update
that's
that.
good.
At this point, in reading all the documentation, we don't know where they are. A, is there sewer lines there? B, where they are.
We
It
can
was-
tap on the sewer lines if somebody wants to look.
The lining rod and find them too.
No, they're there.
But I mean.
But do a locate and figure out
Saying
exactly
they're
where
not
they
on
are.
this document.
They're not on that.
They're not on the
I don't know that we
document.
necessarily
Yeah.
exactly know where the bloody things are to begin with.
Yeah. Well, you can just walk down there and see it, because they're above ground.
The
hookup.
you can
Well,
the
sure.
hookups.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, it'd be nice to try and sort out where the actual lines.
Where they
once
connect into the main
Where
line.
they go
Sure.
down into the ground and where they disappear to.
Sure. And that just takes measurements and you put it on the map.
Right, and I may be talking to Scott McGowan
Yeah.
and see if he can recall when they buried them, where did they
Yeah.
go?
Well, he didn't bury them. I put the sewer lines in.
Okay, then you should be able to.
He dug a hole over the main city line,
The connection.
and he
Yeah.
put a boot on there for us to hook to, but the rest was,
Okay.
I know exactly where everything is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'd love to know exactly where they are. too.
Yeah.
I'd say you're not gonna go wrong trying to follow those requirements to the letter. And I hope we can move
Right.
towards having an ordinance that has requirements that are a little bit more sensible. But in the meantime, I
Yeah.
would try to.
And don't get me wrong,
10 copies.
in reading 376, it was like,
And
this
one
is really,
sepia
really
tone.
out of date. But I felt like it would be inappropriate trying to move the ordinance while you guys are trying to do something. on
Well,
that
that's
topic.
one of the things that when I was reading through, I sometimes would get kind of confused because there's wording for two different types of mobile home parks. One with RV
RV parks, and then
one-
there's mobile home
And
parks.
that's totally different.
They threw them all
So,
together.
so it was a little confusing
It's
that
kinda
way
together.
too. So yeah, I have no objection to
Yeah,
having
I don't know
anything
that, does
updated.
this document predate the RV park? I suspect it does.
I don't think it does.
They did this at the time the RV park was
Yeah,
put in.
Yes and no.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
Yeah, because this was 94, Dad was still, this was at the end of
I'm gonna
Dad's
have to use
term
the
on
restroom
council.
real quick, guys.
So I think we're good to move on.
Additions to the agenda.
Hope it works.
Tech update. Tech update.
I have one thing from an AWC conference.
So go ahead, Stephen, with your tech update while I find the AWC.
Okay. So a few things. Our phone system has, well, actually, let me back up. Our TV is here. I can, there we are. Famous last words coming out of last meeting. I said, I'm going to pass all the purchases to Donna so that she can do them on the credit card so that we don't have any reimbursements. But then I found this deal. $230 for a 65-inch 4K TV. The kicker of it is I needed 3 people to go in together on it. So that's why I submitted a reimbursement because needed a Costco membership. That's the other thing about it. A $230 65-inch 4K TV is generally not considered a high enough quality that you can expect it to last a long time, but when you've got a 3-year Costco warranty behind it, you have a little bit better assurance of some things. So I thought I would take an opportunity to share with our new TV the updates to the phone system. And give an example of how we can now use this to project from our iPads.
Mr. Mayor, I just forwarded that to you.
Good.
Like so.
All right.
This is the current new layout of the phone tree for 253-4345. You can call it sometime. So if you press 1, it goes to a time condition that it will only ring if it's between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. If it's during the lunch hour or before the start of the day or after the day, it'll go directly to voicemail. If it is within those times, it's going to go to a ring group, which means it'll ring multiple devices. One is the desk phone there, the other will be the headset. I haven't got that configured fully yet, but this will allow Donna to work hands-free and not have to go to the phone to answer it. Second of all, if you press 2, there it'll go to the mayor, which I updated the hours today, Jess.
Okay.
So same hours as the clerk, between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. If it was within those times, it will forward to the mayor's cell phone without giving out that number. This, I think, is really important for Jess and all mayors going forward, is please don't give out your cell phone number, because by having the access to the mayor through here, we can help time bound this, and we can also transfer it so that when we have a new election, if people are used to accessing our mayor by calling 253-4345, that means we can just switch the target of the forward. Because there are people who have been mayor in the past who have given out their cell phone number, and they're still getting calls about things because they don't have a way to know who the new mayor is and what their new contact information is. So please only use 253-4345 for contacting the mayor. If you press 3, you can leave a voicemail for the council. That will record and send an email to council@harrington.city, so that means it goes to all of us with a transcription and an MP3 attached as a recording. For 4, you can report an emergency. So I've got a leak on my street, something just collapsed, you know, there's something immediately going wrong after hours that we need to report. First, it will try to call the mayor. If the mayor doesn't pick up, it will try to call David as the pro tem. And if David doesn't pick up, currently it calls me, which it would be council 2 there. We could also put Troy's number into this. We could do a number of different things. But this is to get a hold of someone in off hours if something's going really wrong. And then 5, if you press 5, it will ring the library desk phone over there. So now there is a way for people to call the library without bothering Donna, which was not a thing before. So I think that's an exciting improvement for things, and all of this is also mobile, so that when we move to the new location, it works anywhere you have internet. The last thing that I wanted to update with this is that I would like just a general nodding of heads from the council. This is not a vote of approval, because the charge that would be associated with this would come next meeting, and it will be approved in formal vote as a part of the claims. But the new phone system is prepaid, which means we just load a bunch of money onto it, and then we pay for like a monthly fee to maintain the 253-4345 number. That's $1 a month. And then we pay like a fraction of a cent per minute in calling. So it's very cheap, but it does cost us something over the course of the year. We're down to $6 on record, and we've used $4 in the last 3 months. So remember when I said we might use like between $20 and $100 in a whole year? We're on track for that. We were paying $120 a month to CenturyLink, and we didn't get anything like that. So I would like your guys' general approval that I'd like to load, say, $100 on there. That'll last us well over a year. So, and again, this would be something that would be formally approved as a part of the claims next time, but I'm just letting you guys know that you'll see a $100 charge on the credit card to VoIP.ms, which is our provider for our
Let me
phone.
make room for those
So,
right here.
everyone good with that?
I am.
Yeah.
Cool. That was my tech update.
Brady.
Thank you.
Said you wanted dessert.
See you. Thank you.
Then I don't go back.
That's good, Stephen.
Thank you.
It's taken, there's been a lot of things that I've been working on behind the scenes for a while. They're all starting to light up and turn on as testing completes.
So I don't need to smash that cell phone then.
Can I show you something? Probably not. You can move on. That was it. I'm just showing Joe something here if I can see.
I don't know if I've got it.
No, it should be here.
So Joe, the message you just sent me is not the one that
It is
I
not
got
the
from
one. You're
AWC
correct.
about Maybe
But-
it is here.
It might show
Let me drive for a second. Yep, yeah, I know what you're headed. Okay, I'll just, I don't know where the email is, but I happen to bring up the web page, so I've got it here.
Yeah, we got it here. But this is not the one that says, well, maybe it is.
It's about
facility
voting
projects.
delegates.
The one about sending delegates from the city to AWCs.
Yeah, so the AWC is having their business meeting on June 22nd in the afternoon at the Spokane Conference Center. And one of the purposes of this is to elect the, I'm looking at, basically to,
I'm talking about like they're not even here.
our delegates are going to be part of the group that will elect some of the officers within AWC to the different groups. And they want to know, do we want to send somebody there? And if you say, before just sending a name, gee, I might want to do it, they want to know that you can do it June 22nd, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a Thursday. And it's just it's their annual conference is going to be in Spokane. So I think it has to do with the leadership of AWC.
How would that benefit us, or what would a delegate get?
A vote is simply what it is. Because once they're set, then they'll know what the quorum is. So, if somebody votes up or down, passes whatever agenda item is on there. Anyway, I just read it and thought if we wanted to send somebody, we can put their name. If we don't want to and we're just happy with AWC the way it is, we can.
Did you have a person in mind, Joe?
I didn't necessarily. If you guys want to send somebody, I can rearrange my schedule and be there. But it's up to you guys.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
Do you want to go, Jess?
No. I don't care to go to Spokane any more often than I have to. Not only that, I'm pretty well consumed with being in this town 8+ hours a day.
So
It's by me. I mean, I'll probably be busy. So
okay. Do you guys want representation there, or do you care?
Concerned.
No.
Okay. Then we'll drop it.
Next subject. Wheatland Bank.
Did we finish with our stuff here?
Yes.
I went to the restroom, so I missed it.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, we'll
Thank you.
keep working.
Thank you, guys.
I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon.
might as well.
That thing on camera.
I think the camp.
That'll be fun.
What was the occasion that your wife decided to bring these wonderful treats to us?
Homemakers. This is what was left over. She had to provide, and she can feed an army with what she bakes. So,
Really?
yes, we're the rest of the army.
so thin.
Me?
Yeah.
Does anybody need a sugar break before we go on here?
I'm careful.
I'm good.
I'm careful. I might.
Do we need to pass this around? Oh,
I think I'd just have them come to it.
yes, I think this needs to be a buffet type item.
And I walk
yeah.
7 miles a day, so.
Oh, well, there you go.
And I talk a lot. It burns a lot of calories.
Okay, that's why we couldn't. It was not in my city email. It was in a different email that I use.
Ah,
So this
okay.
is on the screen. There is the comment about the voting delegate. Court meeting takes place. City can designate three voting delegates to vote on the candidates for the board of directors for
You want some,
AWC.
Peter?
That's what it's about.
What is AWC?
Associated Western Cities.
Oh, okay.
Association of
Washington cities. Yeah, that's where our city insurance comes from, amongst other things.
Okay.
So it's AWC's business meeting.
basically.
basically.
Yep.
And
Okay.
it's on June 22nd, the important meeting. That's very small print from this far away, but I can actually read it, Joe.
So,
Nice when things
anyway.
work.
Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream.
Makes me
So,
happy.
I'm going
Is it
to
satisfying,
turn my
Stephen?
screen off.
Did you have a desire to attend this meeting, Joe? I mean, there could be benefits there.
It can't hurt.
You know, I have no problem. If you wish to go to that?
If Joe
is
would
there-
like to go, I don't have a
Is there
problem with that at
anything we
all.
need to do
Okay.
do
Yeah.
we need a motion or anything?
I don't think so. I just
don't want to
I'm
force you to
trying not to
go.
do anything without talking to you guys. That's the
Well, I
bottom
have
line.
no problem. If you want to go, you can. There's always information to be picked up.
I mean,
If there's a glean of something the city can benefit from, then
Yeah.
and it's not really that big a deal. I'm already there, or I can be already there. I just switch my days up. I go in on Thursday instead of Friday. So
You'll probably get a sub sandwich out of that deal and
Ice cream.
ice cream social.
ice
the
cream
heck?
too.
Yes.
Well, how can you pass that up?
I don't know that you can.
Okay.
Okay, Wheatland.
Wheatland Bank, we've been talking about opening an account there for a month or more. And Joe's done a lot of footwork and other people have read it and I think we're ready to move forward and open a second bank, which will only be a starting point. As I'm understanding, this could take a couple, 3 months to get things transferred over. So it wouldn't be an immediate change, but it would just be a change that we're working on.
So is this something that needs a motion?
If would they, in order for them to be able to open an account, they need to see something official voted on by the city. So yes, it needs to.
I'll make a motion. We authorize the City of Harrington, the mayor, clerk, to transfer or the transition and establishment of banking services with Wheatland Bank.
A second.
Friendly amendment as defined by the resolution.
As defined by resolution.
Yes.
Number.
Donna, do you know what the next
Triple X.
resolution is? I believe, maybe I do.
Now that I butchered that all up, let's try it again.
20,
We all understand.
2000,
We get it.
250.
233,
No, it's in the 40s.
234, 2022,
So we did.
I think it was a library thing that was the last resolution.
237, 242,
Yeah, that's. And then we corrected it with 240.
243,
No, so it's 244 then.
243, 2023 is the last,
Okay, so this is 244.
244, 2023.
Yeah.
Was that clear enough for you? Restate it? Okay, my motion is to authorize, for the council to authorize the City of Harrington, the mayor clerk, the transition and establishment of banking services at Wheatland Bank as per resolution number
244,
244-2023.
Seconded by Chris.
so we've got a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
A second.
Chris seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of motion 244, 2023 to establish a bank account with Wheatland Bank, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same? Very good, council. That's a done thing.
Did you get that, Donna? Okay. so good.
That's on the
Okay.
docket.
Thank you, Joe, for preparing that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
McGregor Building lease. David Bingaman
Yeah,
put a lease together for us, and I tried to send it all to you Monday, and it looks like I failed, so you got it tonight. And it's a 28-page document. And knowing Mr. Bingaman, it probably covers most everything that you could ever want to have a renter sign.
28 pages, you say?
Yeah.
And when do we have to have this? Do we need to approve this tonight?
It's on for action, yeah.
Okay.
It is here, it would help, and I,
The only
Our current
question,
lease expires. Have you talked to him?
yes. Are you talking to the person Johnson?
Yes.
He was in here today,
Okay, is he,
and he said, I didn't actually see anybody come on the 24th to look at the building site.
you didn't say what year.
Okay.
No, yeah, nobody showed, so.
And so I told him, yes, that it was my opinion. I thought we were going to vote on a lease tonight, and going through things this afternoon, I came across this, that didn't get out to you. I didn't give him any bearing on, and that lease does not either. We talked about rent, raising of the rent last meeting. And I don't remember those numbers at the moment. Well, we can pull them up in the minutes here.
Like it was 12.
No, because they were discussed in executive session.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was having the same.
You were thinking that too?
Yeah, I was trying to. I think I remember.
There's been a
what we
lot
landed
going on lately.
So, I believe what we landed on. Correct me, council, if this is wrong. The term of 1 year,
Yes.
and the amount was going to be 1,200. However, we said that utilities would be included.
Correct.
Yes. So that roughly comes close to 1,100, and then we're just changing, like they were paying utilities on to the city on top of their rent before, and so that last 100 from 1,100 to 1,200 shouldn't be a net raise for them. It's just changing the way the payment comes in.
And those utilities were water and garbage.
Yes, because the sewer is already separate on the sewer system.
Did we ever, to add to that, did we ever discern what size of receptacle garbage? Go ahead.
I made a note at the time, I typed it out. 1 year, 1,200, no utility bill, 1 yard dumpster.
Okay. Because I know that was a question that come up in discussion, so.
I think we just want to make sure and be very clear to him, because 1,200 could seem like a bigger number than it is. We want to make sure that he knows that about $100 of that is just a transfer of payment, not a raise. Because he's paying about $100 in utilities a month now.
Okay, and we're gonna take those utilities back.
That'll go away. So he gets $100 to him, and then that $100 is going out in that 12.
Okay.
So, yeah.
He asked for a longer lease. And I said, we recognize that. We have some things coming up and possibly the next year that could affect that. So at this point, we would like to keep it a 1 year lease. And he said, okay, I can live with that. But obviously, he doesn't want to move, and it's a big deal to move. He doesn't have a place to go to. He asked to have some yard maintenance done, and I haven't been over and looked at it yet. Of course, I just talked to him today. Somebody at some time built a cement or a block garden type area in front of the door. And the last time I was there, I was on crutches and it was snowing, so I don't remember that. But he said when it rains hard, the water comes in the front door of the building. And I said, it sounds to me like we need to remove the flower bed or whatever was put in there before. And he said he would take care of it. Well, we'll talk about that a bit. But he wants something done to the front of the building. Obviously, it's got some drainage problems
issues.
that have to do with landscaping, and I think we ought to take care of that.
Do we have any of that 6-inch pipe left?
Yes, we do. We have a lot of it.
A lot of it left.
I've got a drill.
There you go.
To do what? Oh, to put it in.
Make it, turn it into a couple sections of it into a French drain.
It sounds to me like we need to go over there and do some excavation work and maybe put some gravel in front to make the whole thing.
And bury a couple 6-inch
Yeah.
tubs
Change
there to.
Basically change the grade around the building.
Yeah, because right now when it rains, he said it splashes up all over the building, and if it rains hard, it comes in the door. Well, that doesn't sound like something that we should leave.
Well, speaking of water, we said we were gonna fix the roof too.
Okay.
Did that come up?
We've got some issues that we need to take care of, and we also said, I think it was said that we wanted that building demolished
Yes.
from the inside of the structure.
So what was his answer to that? Was
I
it-
didn't bring that up to him.
Oh, okay,
I didn't
gotcha.
bring that up today yet. So we need to go visit him. The lease is up in May.
May 31st.
End of this.
Yeah, it's the end of this month.
May 31st.
Okay, so we need to get down what we expect from him.
Well, I think it was last meeting that you said we want to make sure that that structure is torn down before we get the lease signed.
Correct. And I don't know that we can meet that now, but we ought to give him a date in order to give it down a reasonable period of time, whatever
Yeah,
that.
sure.
You know, whether that's 30 days, 60 days.
Even if we send Troy over to just do a spot check, I mean, just to see that that box is no longer there.
Inside the building.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a date. I don't know what kind of time frame you think's a reasonable period of time. 30 days may not be much time for somebody who has a full-time job. I
I'd
think
give him 90
Give him
days.
90 days, 3 months would be sufficient.
that seems reasonable to
As
me.
long as it's no longer being occupied, I
Right.
think that's fine.
That's my biggest concern,
Yeah.
is that it could be occupied right now.
Exactly.
So-
That's it. Yeah.
If it is, that's a problem because they're right there.
So we're all satisfied with the length, the rent amount, and the transition or the trade-off for that? Okay.
One less check for them, one less check for us.
So,
Well, I'll make a motion that council authorizes the mayor to present this to the leasees, this contract as written.
so we need to get this thing printed up.
Second.
Gee. So we got a motion on the floor to,
Authorize the mayor to present this contract to the leasee.
Present and countersign.
Yeah, that'll work.
okay. And also give him an attached letter that we'd like to see the inside structures removed within 90 days.
Not liked, must be.
Okay. Would you like to help compose that letter?
No.
I think you just
We've
volunteered.
got it in the minutes here now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you got a clerk that's
Okay,
Just
any further
turn.
discussion? No? All in favor of the motion to submit the lease to Johnson Family Towing?
Aye.
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 Opposed, same? Very good, done. For the McGregor building. Mayor comments, not a whole lot on, we've got a lot left to do. Did anybody have time to peruse this document that was produced back on the 21st of September, an interlocal agreement for building code services? This is the document that was produced
Oh, for building
to
permits?
give the building permit
Right.
business, which is a moneymaker too, by the way, and the inspections is something we charge for,
If you have someone.
to the county. And my biggest concern about this is exactly what this means, whether we even get involved anymore. This almost needs to be read by our lawyer and tell us what it means. There's some things in there that I'm not sure about. We have a situation now that is reared its ugly head because of our failure to know what we need to do for our citizens. And my concern was this document was done, and the one thing it lacked was a signature from the mayor.
Was it Nathan at that time or was it Justin?
Nathan,
Oh, duh, this was during COVID.
yeah.
So it was signed by the clerk at that time, and by Joshua Grant as the attorney,
And
by
the
the
mayor.
Lincoln County prosecuting attorney, I'm not sure who that is.
Barktool.
Oh, that's right, yep.
This document was nowhere in this building to be found. I found this by going to Tara Holden, and I'm not gonna call her a secretary, she is the deputy clerk for the board of the county commissioners. And I had a document that was written on this computer that had no names or anything else, and I showed it to her, and she dug through city council meetings, or commissioner council meetings, and found a copy of this. And that's how I got this. The auditor didn't have it, which it was supposedly recorded at the auditor's, and Ryan James has a copy of this that he can't find. So almost nobody is able to determine
It's now a ghost.
when somebody like Gavin Wagner comes in here and wants to build a building, and he asked if he could build it, and we said we don't do permits, so we sent him to Davenport. Davenport, he showed them his plans, and the only thing he was concerned about was setbacks, and Gavin spent an extremely large amount of money, bought this building as a kit, and is starting to put it up now. In fact, the poles are up, I can show you. It's a 40 by 60 building. So you can imagine the cost of that. And then partway through construction, another one of our citizens wanted to know who gave him the right to do that. And he had a building permit, and she said, well, that's against our city codes for something to be that high. Well, she was incorrect with that, because he's about 6 inches under the height requirement in a R1 residential area. But the sidewalls can only be X amount high,
Right.
according to our building codes, which another archaeological dig to find that. So after a week or so, I found all of this stuff. And I'm not sure who is supposed to be dealing with all of this.
That's probably my recommendation, Mr. Mayor, is to, if you can do it briefly, run it by our attorney and see if our responsibility, where the responsibility lies with this. The issue at hand, in the whole permitting process, our ordinances, codes, where does that all, where's the sift, through at? Where's the buck stop?
I mean, I know in the
guess.
past how this happened,
Yeah.
but this is not the past, and we keep piling more jobs on the people that are here, and they already have a full plate, so we need to find out really what our obligation is to our citizens.
There's two things about this that bug me. In the primary document that you sent,
Yes, this one?
yeah, it nowhere in here does it dictate our
Our
city
codes.
codes.
Yes.
That's always been super vague.
But
Well,
it does say specific expected tasks and procedures of fully, this is under paragraph 1, are more fully detailed at Exhibit A attached here too, which we don't have.
okay. I think it's not vague, Levi, I hate to tell you. This stuff's real clear.
Our city codes?
Yes?
Yeah.
They're very clear.
But what I'm
It's
saying
the
is-
finding of
yeah.
them that's not clear.
But us transferring them to do the building code services doesn't define that they're gonna follow our city codes.
I wasn't referring to the
under
codes
services?
themselves.
Read that
I was
last
referring to who is
sentence.
responsible
What does that mean
for
to you?
the inspections. Does it say in there?
Yeah, it says,
the inspection.
providing such services,
Well,
the
it
county
used to be
building
our city
inspector may
engineer.
exercise
Right.
all
And
the
I think
powers
when
and
he
perform all the
left,
duties
which may have
vested by law
facilitated
in the
this
city.
document
So you think
happening.
that's saying our
And the-
code?
That had a lot to
The
do with
city
it.
is
I
passed
think
different
that's, I
interpretation,
think
doesn't
that's
it?
about the
Yes.
same time when
It's
this
too
occurred.
subjective.
Yeah, because we weren't sure who was gonna be able to do it after that.
My
I'm
attorney
concerned about
refers
the
to that as
tribal
being
knowledge that
ambiguous.
passes down
Right,
from
when
group to
something
group.
is
Exactly.
We have a
ambiguous,
new group in here right
the
now
person who's been harmed is the
who knew
one
nothing about
that
this.
gets
Yeah.
the benefit of the ambiguity.
until it's brought up from somebody, and the person who brought it up to me said, "Oh no, we take care of all that."
Well, for-
I said, "No, we don't. We don't do permits anymore."
Which is true.
So, which is true, but
See, and that was one of the big things when we lost our former inspector. We went to the county because we didn't have anybody to take up that job at the time.
Correct.
yeah.
And it just has sort of floated there in the wind since then.
So this is something that needs to be followed through with.
Can we find the minutes for September 2020 when this was authorized? It was COVID time, so wouldn't it all be recorded?
I think you had it.
It's all recorded.
Yeah, it might be on YouTube.
I don't think we have the minutes in this building. They stopped. Do you remember when they stopped, Donna? Was it 2019 or before?
It starts in 2021.
Not sure at this point. There's a time when we have no record of the minutes. You had some of them today, Joe, for a meeting we were talking
Well,
about.
but that was last year.
In 2022, I
Yeah, I've
believe.
got everything from last year. I save all this stuff, but buried in that thing?
Do you want me to go home and get them and bring them down to you tomorrow?
That'd be wonderful if you had them.
Yeah, I was on the council at that time. I've got those meetings in a drawer, or minutes in a drawer.
That'd be wonderful. We don't necessarily need it tomorrow. We
Okay.
don't have to run down tomorrow, but yes, we would love to have
Yeah,
those guys.
those are in my stack, so
Did we have discussion?
hard copy.
Stephen and I come on in April, May-ish, or whatever it was of that year.
Yeah.
But wasn't there prior discussion about this prior to us coming on? I thought there was.
Well, I think a lot of that centered, well,
Well, my purpose of saying that is that
So I can tell you that the clerk and the former mayor, a clerk and a former mayor, used to deal with the inspector from Adams County, who is in Ritzville, and he came out and did inspections and charged us, I'm gonna say $100, okay? Don't quote me on that. And that was added to the cost of the permit. And the person who was building the building paid that, and we gave the money to the person from Adams County. So, but this person also thought that he may have retired from now. It was somebody who was formerly an engineer and was well versed in that kind of business. So I know that Ryan James would love to give this back to us. But
well, I see some benefits to doing that, but who do we?
we don't have anyone qualified.
we
to
don't have
execute
anybody
it.
to do it is our problem right now.
Which is why we ended up giving it to the county.
Yes.
Mhm.
So we may be having another public meeting to get a variance on a sidewall.
For Gavin's building?
For Gavin's building, because the problem is the sidewall height.
Well, considering that none of this was
And-
his fault.
And there is, it's absolutely none of it's his fault, and there's several buildings within the 2 blocks where he lives
Got a lot of
that
variances
are
up
the
there.
exact same heights,
He
and
got
one
a
of
lot
them.
of variances up there.
Yes, they were given variances, so although I can't say that I think it will happen, it sounds reasonable that it would happen when you have other buildings in the
Yeah,
area after the public hearing on his, but he's in the process, he's paid people to come and help assemble this facility, and it's a big building. And he's got cement coming. So.
and
this-
again, none of this is his fault. He did what he was
Absolutely
supposed
right.
to
He
do.
did not just go and march ahead with this
Nope.
project. He thought he had covered all the bases. So I told him I felt somewhat responsible for that, that under my watch,
Right.
we failed him in giving him the information he needed.
Now, if I recall, we have to have a public hearing and let people come in and we're being recorded and speak their piece.
give their opinions on
Yes,
it.
and then we decide after that, so.
Yeah, and also mail out people that are within
Right.
300 feet.
But yeah, he's done nothing wrong. I won't have any problem with it at all.
So most likely, this meeting was probably on YouTube.
Yes. Oh,
Well,
the
not,
meeting of when this
yeah.
The recording.
When
of
this
it,
document
not the
was done?
video.
The problem is this, that was before we started doing the live streams.
Okay.
That was when, what was happening is we were doing Zoom, and then Janice or Nathan, I'm not sure always who,
Yes.
had the recorder sitting next to the computer. Now, what I did is, a while back, I took the recorder, I downloaded all of the audio off of them, and I put them on YouTube under the Legacy Recordings playlist. The only problem is that the recorder didn't always give date stamps for what the meeting was. So where there were date stamps, I named it appropriately. For the meetings that I could deduce what the date was, I put it on there. So we don't have a meeting where I was able to identify this date, but it's probably in there. It's either one of the unknown 2020s, or there's also a special meeting. There's a special meeting for the 25th of September, which was 4 days after this was dated, which I guess wouldn't probably be pertinent because that would be after the approval of it. But so it is likely there, but it's not properly labeled, probably.
But you're gonna have.
Yeah, if you guys would text me which meeting or meetings roughly it was in.
September of.
Yeah, you
September
can listen to
2020.
them while you're cleaning, like a
September
podcast.
21st. Yeah.
So move.
I have so many, never
But
mind.
you have hard copy, right?
Yeah, I can just go pull the minutes and bring them down. I guess it pays to save all that stuff.
I guess nevertheless, we find out,
Okay.
we still gotta determine who's, the public hearing and everything, but since Gavin did go through the process, his due diligence and followed the chain of command and everything, we still have to, going forward, have a legal ruling on whose responsibility or is
Or
there.
what the city's going to do in these occasions.
Yeah, or, I mean,
When people come in and want to build a building,
Right.
we have to have a better answer than go to Davenport.
right.
Well,
We only gave out the inspection and the permitting. We never, at least according to that document, it doesn't say anything about ordinance, and we shouldn't be telling people that they aren't accountable to our ordinances. So we need to be careful about understanding that you go to the county just for your permit and your inspection, but that doesn't mean there isn't other things you're accountable to.
So this is new work for City Hall here too.
Well, but
Well-
when you do that, though, I mean,
Yes and no. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I would just say the permit, the guy issuing the permit, that's his kind of like responsibility to,
Well,
know
yeah,
those.
maybe.
that's
I mean,
part of the problem I have with the whole
So-
setup.
Remember when we were talking about liens and land sales,
Yeah.
right? And the thing is, we wanted a notification from
Yeah,
their office, right? If I was the person at the county and said, I have to keep up to date on all these ordinances from the different cities when the cities probably don't even send me something to tell me that it's passed, that's untenable from my position. I'm gonna have to invest it, like, what am I gonna call every city and be like, did you change your ordinances this week? Did you change your ordinances this week? I would be surprised if they think it's their responsibility to actually be up to date on our ordinances. My guess would be they say, I will issue a permit in accordance with what Lincoln County requires of you, and I will inspect it. It is on you to be in accordance with the City of Harrington's ordinances. Now, to Jess's point about new work for this office, I hope not, because this goes back to accessibility of documentation that people might not know it yet, but they can access our full list of ordinances on files.harrington.city. So we can say, here are our ordinances, these are the laws you're applicable to, just like you are beholden to RCWs, and it's on you to choose to read them. And the way this country works, no one comes and spoon feeds you the laws that you can get sued for. They're out there.
The onus
you can
is
choose
on you to-
right. The onus is on you. Ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? We make our ordinances available, and it shouldn't be any work on our clerk because they shouldn't have to print them. They shouldn't have to send them. They can say, here's where you can get all of our ordinances. It's a PDF. It's searchable. Go knock yourself out. Find what you need to find because it's on you to stay compliant.
And then why are they paying for our service?
Well, because we still have to inspect, and we still have to make sure that it's within city or county building codes as well.
So in other
For
words, this 503 ordinance and everything, they put the cart before the horse before anything was spelled out or whose responsibility for anything is my point.
Maybe. It would be good to see that Exhibit A that was referenced there about roles and responsibilities. If Exhibit A did do a good job of spelling them out and Exhibit A is lost, I guess it amounts to about the same thing.
Well, let's hope Exhibit A is attached to the stuff that I have at home.
Yeah.
Well, moving forward, we have to do something as a council for this. It's just too ambiguous.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll dig down to September 2020 and bring in what I've got.
So can we come up with some
Joe, would you text me tomorrow to remind me
some
to do
jobs that we can pass around to go forward and bring this up and fill in some of the blanks next meeting?
About this issue right here,
Yeah, about this issue.
So I think Levi is going to see if he has Exhibit A, because if Exhibit A exists and it spells out the differentiation of roles and responsibilities, that's going to help us chase things down quite a bit in terms of who's responsible for letting our citizens know that they're accountable to our ordinances. Based upon what we find there, or if we don't find Exhibit A, we're going to have to write a new one.
So if we go to Ryan James, I wonder if he's got an Exhibit A.
Someone needs it.
I mean,
Well, if we were given it as hard copy, it'll be stapled to my minutes, so.
Yeah.
okay. Like I say, I got this one from the county commissioners.
Right. September 2020.
So in my opinion, I think it starts with that, and then based upon what that is or isn't, we figure out how to clarify and rectify that situation.
If we adjourn within the next 10 minutes, I'll go home and look for it.
better have another cookie.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready to put that issue to bed. Any public comments? Okay,
Move to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 9:15, meeting is adjourned.
David, is that Denise's